Every year, 48% of Americans drop the ball on their New Year's resolutions. Did you know that?
I'm one of them, actually.
48%? That's almost half.
I know, but to make sure that doesn't happen in 2014, the author of Happy Women Live Better, life coach Valorie Burton, is here to help us out.
All right.
All right. So we're going to get to the resolutions in a moment, but
Okay.
first you've got to tell us about this book, Happy Women Live Better.
Yeah. Happy women actually not only live better, they live longer. They're more likely to get raises, more likely to get promoted, more likely to get married and be happy about it, less likely to get sick. So there's so much around happiness. A lot of times we think it's just, oh, I want to be happy, but it really is a strategy for success, for resilience, and for living a better life.
So why did you decide to write this book in particular?
Well, I thought it was really interesting. There's some research that shows over the last 40 years that women's happiness has started to decline.
Are you kidding?
Men
Why?
are continuing to get happier.
Of course.
So I started to wonder, what is that all about? And as I talk to more and more women, I realize we feel so much pressure. And interestingly, when you distinguish between generations, older generations just say, you know what, there's so many more expectations on a woman, what her life should be, what she should accomplish, than there were decades ago. So it's wonderful that we have more opportunity, but sometimes having more choices leads to more regret.
She's expected to have a career and to be a mother and to maintain her body and to be a happy wife and to keep the house.
And have a fabulous
immaculate
spouse and perfect kids. And
Makes me tired just thinking about it. Ooh, I see what you're talking about now.
It's hard.
Well, and there's really less pressure, less expectation on men because in many ways women have taken over in a lot of areas where there's, men aren't expected to be the primary breadwinner. That is shared. So there's less stress for a lot of men than there was 40 years ago.
That's true. In the 50s, men were the head of the households. Women took men were in the workplace. Women were the head of the households in that way. But now
we're both.
Okay, so before you start dogging all the guys, I'm saying
we're not dogging.
I do a lot.
We're just talking about reality.
Okay, well, in this reality, tell us about the research process. You just sit around with a bunch of girlfriends, like, girl, are you happy? What was the process like?
Well,
why you sad, girl? You stop. Come on. Okay.
Well, there's some of that. Some of it is just talking to people, but there's. You okay, Lola?
Sometimes he just kills me, I'm sure she did a little more. Girl, are you happy?
Of course.
Well, you know what? The book there's 13 triggers, 13 ways to trigger your happiness every day. So I talk about these happiness triggers. They're all research-based. These are things that we know, based in psychological research, will make you happier, and a lot of them are pretty quick. But
like what? Tell me one.
Here's the thing. Happiness is intentional. We always think happiness is about what happens, and that's a myth. Research shows only about 10% of happiness is circumstances.
Really?
So, if something bad happens, you have a dip in your happiness, but eventually you go back to about the same level of happiness that you had before. It really is about the choices that you make every single day, even when you're going through more difficult times.
So how can we jumpstart our happiness?
Okay, so
I like music.
Oh, music is wonderful.
Music is great.
So what do you do when you were dancing earlier? You danced right by us. You were singing Michael Jackson.
I sure was.
And you looked happy.
Singing up and down the hall.
But I was triggering my happiness.
Well, you were. That is a happiness trigger I talk about in the book called play.
Okay.
And play it's about your attitude, your lightness, the ability to laugh, but it also is about not having to be good at something, right? We have such a performance-based culture.
That's true.
So, I always laugh that, I love to play tennis, I love to sing. I don't do either particularly well, but I give myself permission to not be good at it, right? Because I enjoy
Just have
it.
fun.
That's right. Find the things that you enjoy doing. Have fun. Men are great at play, right? As men, even as boys, they wrestle, grown men, basketball, video games, golf. We tend to bond face to face, but we can really learn something from play with men because play is really powerful for building up your positive emotion.
Well, I know a lot of people think money can make them happy. What do you say to this?
Well, financial savvy is another happiness trigger.
Okay.
Can it buy you happiness?
But you don't have to be rich. You just have to know how to work within your means and make your money work for you.
That's right. Money does definitely make you happier. I mean, especially if you don't have much.
That's true.
If you can't pay your bills, it's stressful. It's a lot harder to be happy. Once you get to a point where you can pay your bills, you're living below your means, this is really huge because you can make a lot of money, but if you don't live below your means, it's not going to impact your happiness in a positive way. And then being able to give some of that money away.
Really?
Yes.
So do you mean giving to charity, tithing, things like that?
All of the above. So there's a few ways money makes you happier. Living below your means. And also very interesting, like living in a neighborhood that's less than you can afford is a happiness trigger. Listen,
because you won't be broke.
That's right. You're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're comfortable.
Right.
You can relax about things. And then, you know, especially when you get a windfall, always ask, who can I bless? It's not that you can't spend money on yourself, but we're actually happier when we use our money to also bless other people.
And they say
That's a
most
very
wealthy
good point.
people live below their means. So,
Yeah, well, it's easier to live below your means when you have more.
That's true.
But the big thing is, if you don't live below your means when you don't have a lot, you probably aren't going to live below your means when you get more. You have to start practicing
Let me write
where
that
you
down.
are.
Let's choose.
You know, it's so interesting because with these triggers, I created a test at happywomantest.com. You can find out what your personal triggers are, the ones that are natural for you, and what I call your power triggers. It's really your bottom ones. But I call them power triggers because if you understand what they are and you start to use them, they have the greatest potential to boost your happiness.
What about exercise?
Yeah,
That's a good trigger. Movement.
That's another trigger that's in the book, movement. And really, I mean, it doesn't take a lot. Get up, get moving. 20 minutes of cardio will boost your mood for up to 24 hours. If you experience mild depression, it's been shown that regular cardio can literally alleviate mild depression if you do it on a regular basis. So, you know, especially in the summer, I mean, in the wintertime when we're, you know, not going outside, you know, even getting on the treadmill.
Those
Okay.
endorphins are so good, aren't they?
Well, now that we've made everyone happy, let's move on to these New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
Why is it always so hard to keep these resolutions?
Well, usually people don't have a plan behind it. It's like,
Oh, there's the plan?
the clock strikes midnight. Oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, right?
I just make a list. Done.
Just make a list.
So what's the plan?
Well, you know what? What's most important is to have a vision.
Okay.
Right? So start thinking about what do I want to see happen in the new year. Write it very clearly, very vividly, and think about those key areas of your life. In your relationships, what do you want? In your finances, in your work, spiritually, in your health. What do you see? And write it in the present tense. It's really powerful to write about your best possible future self. So you may write, you know, I am, maybe you've changed careers. I am in the career that I love. I have a fantastic relationship with my spouse. Every day I get up and I'm excited about life. Begin to write in the present tense.
As opposed to saying, I want to be or I will
That's right.
be. Say,
Start writing
I
as
am.
though it already is.
So claim it, as they say.
Claim it.
Claim it.
And I would
that.
say make it visual too. You know,
Really?
create, you know, get out a bunch of magazines,
I like
print
vision
stuff off
boards.
the internet.
Oh.
Create a vision board, something you're
Okay.
going to see regularly. I keep my vision board in my closet. When I walk in, I see it. And so that just keeps
Valerie's
you
got a
reminded.
walk-in closet.
Okay.
I've got that on my
I was gonna
vision
say,
board.
like you don't with those fabulous clothes you wear.
Well, Valerie.
So what's the key for longevity in this? Should your goals last you throughout the year, or should you just do temporary stuff like, okay, I'm just going to last me until February because I know I can make it there?
You know what, there's something called goal fatigue. So here's what's really important. It takes a lot of energy to move towards a goal. So if you can make sure that let's say you create one goal. Here's my goal. I'm going to work on this one. It's going to take me a month and a half, right? So maybe it's not a whole year-long goal, but you've got another one you're going to pick up on in March. This is a really good approach. What tends to happen is we don't realize how much energy it takes to reach a goal. So if your energy's here, by the time you reach the goal, it's here. You've got to stop and celebrate. Give yourself time to kind of replenish,
Okay.
and then move on to the next goal.
And isn't it about also setting realistic goals? I mean, maybe you don't say, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a month. Maybe you just say, I'm going to lose 5 pounds every month for 10 months, right?
That's right. And you break your goals down into bite-sized pieces. 5 pounds a month is just over a pound a week, right? And I would say then say, what's the action step? And find the small thing. I've coached people where they literally said, you know what, I've been working late and I get Chinese takeout at 9 p.m. every night, and I go home, I eat the takeout and drink a glass of wine. I can't figure out why I'm not losing weight. So, you know, we change it. You know what, I'm not even going to tell you to change what you eat. Just finish eating by 7 o'clock, right? And you start there. Or stop the vending machine run at 3:30 every afternoon to get potato chips, and maybe you bring an apple or a banana or something that's going to be more healthy. So start with really small things you can change.
Oh, this is all great advice.
Very
I'm going
good
to
point.
have to make sure all the women that I know are happy. Where can we get your book?
Happy Women Live Better. It's obviously online, but Barnes & Noble, your Christian bookstores, you'll find it everywhere. And they can go to ValorieBurton.com. They can take the happiness trigger assessment there, and they can find all the retailers that carry the book.
All right. And you also have other resources and workshops that you offer through your website as well, right?
Absolutely. I founded the Coaching and Positive Psychology Institute, so we do a lot of coach training, a lot of life training around, coaching around how do you transform your life, your relationships, and so forth. So they can get on my email list, and they'll get all the info on a weekly basis.
All right.
Valorie, we're
Get
so
on that
happy
list.
to have you.
I am happy that you have it.
I'm so happy.
I'm so happy.
Thank you, Valerie, for making us happy. We appreciate it. And good
Play
luck
is her
on those
top
New Year
trigger.
resolutions. I know. Clearly play. We have a good time.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Thank you. And you're
Thanks so
watching
much.
Arise Entertainment 360.